this Khan, and we are very eager, sir, to know from you, Maharashtra being at the forefront of industrial revolution and supporting industry for last 5 to 6 decades. We want to know from you, sir, in these challenging times, what is the thought process that is there on industrial development?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I have a bit of an advantage in Maharashtra. I cannot call myself a Maharashtrian. I'm an outsider. I'm from Hyderabad. So I think I can see Maharashtra a little more objectively than many of you. And that is my advantage. On the other hand, part of my education was in Maharashtra, and I taught in Maharashtra. To that extent, having served here, I think I'm a part of this state. I think there are tremendous strengths that we have here, not because we have great natural advantages. Our strength really is our people, and I'm not saying only what we call Marathi Manus, but whoever comes here and imbibes the ethos of this state. And don't denigrate this quality or this ability to integrate, as some people are trying to do. This is one of our great strengths here. And it is not just Mumbai, which is the most cosmopolitan city in the world. If you look at Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, I can't easily think of a city in India which is more cosmopolitan than Nagpur. But Nagpurkars don't realize that. Just as Maharashtrians don't realize that they are number one and where should they go from there. Unless you understand where you are, you will not understand where you can go, what your potential is, and how do you address future challenges and opportunities. And that is the downside of Maharashtra. It is not just today. It is since I joined service. I was always happier going for meetings in Delhi, going for meetings in Ahmedabad, going for meetings in Hyderabad, where people tell me what is happening in Maharashtra and they would like to come and see, and they would like to come and imbibe, and they would like to come and understand. But you do not get that reception in Maharashtra. So at the risk of boring everyone, I think it is in this age of internet, educated people, I find it mystifying why strange notions still persist in Maharashtra. Maharashtrians are not hardworking. Maharashtrians are not entrepreneurial. I started my career in Sawantwadi. I was told people are very lazy and don't do anything. They could not explain to me who was actually running and working in the mills in Mumbai. They were people from Sawantwadi. So, you know, these kinds of attitudes, they are good to some extent. Modesty is fine. But I think we have to understand what are our strengths in order to understand what are our real weaknesses. And one of our weaknesses in Maharashtra is that we do not do that. It is for that reason, although it is getting late, that I think I will throw some figures at you before getting to what I really want to say. If you take Center of Monitoring Indian Economy, which has not always been flattering to Maharashtra, in March 2010, the project investment under actual implementation in Maharashtra was the highest in the country. Under actual implementation, I'm not talking of MOUs, I'm not talking of people who have made announcements, press, media reports. I'm talking of investment, project investment under actual implementation. If you want the figure in US dollars, it is 136 billion US dollars. Compared to March 2009, in 1 year, it was double. Compared to the next state, it was 27% higher. Compared to 5 years ago, it was 4 times higher. If I know these figures, which I have got from the internet, which I have got from CMI, distinguished people in industry and business would have known it long before me. If you take other kinds of indicators, and consistently for the last 10 or 15 years, our share of Maharashtra in industrial output and value added in the country has remained at around 19 or 20 to 21% over the last 10 years, not gone down. If you take actual FDI inflows, forget about FDI approvals because we have been first there since 1991. If you take FDI equity inflows, last quarter is 35% share in India. If you take from 1991 to now, it is also 35%, not going down. If you take growth coming from a fairly high base, generally one would not expect such a high growth rate. After the slowdown in around 2008-9, in 9-10, Maharashtra's growth rate, according to the provisional estimates, was 8.4%. If you take the component of industrial growth rate, it is 9.6%. And if you take manufacturing, which many people consider rightly or wrongly to be the engine of and the driver of growth, 10.9%, that is nearly 11%. These are the facts. So let us first understand that these are the facts on which we need to build. They also hide a lot of things which are problems and issues which we need to acknowledge. And these are huge concerns. And they are huge concerns not only for Maharashtra, but also for India. I think very rightly, today many speakers, including the governor of Orissa and many others, Mr. Yashwant Sinha also, pointed out that you may be great in IT, you may have a very fast growth rate, but let us be very clear, the difference in states is only relative. You have the largest number of poor people in the world. You have the highest level of debility in terms of health indicators in the world. So that is the other reality which we need to understand. So why do we want growth? And within that, do we look with greater attention at growth in the industrial sector? One of the reasons is that our experience has been that growth in the industrial sector, if properly managed, can address issues of poverty, can address issues of inclusive growth, and can address issues not only of efficiency but of equity. And that is why it is important. Now, the figures I have given you set in perspective what we have been trying to do since the industrial policy of 2006 of the state. You must remember that when I say industrial policy, I'm broadly talking about manufacturing and processing. And industrial policy is one of the very many instruments and one of the many other sectors which impinge on inclusive growth. As it happens, we are planning on announcing a new industrial policy at the end of June or the beginning of July 2011. We hope to have some kind of draft ready, and I would really look forward to a lot of feedback. But any industrial policy in this state will also have to look at the regional imbalances between different areas. It will also have to look at the differences in the employment potential that has been created and the type of employment that you provide. Although we are one of the richest states in terms of per capita income, many of our districts are below both the per capita income and the HDI figures of the average for the country. So one of the things that we would be looking at in any industrial policy is, how do you further promote or leverage what has happened over the last few years in different regions? We have an industrial mega policy which partly gives incentives to compensate for competitive disadvantage. It has been highly successful. I have got more players coming to invest in Maharashtra than I have got land. And 2/3 of these industrial mega projects have opted for locations in relatively backward areas of Maharashtra, which means that infrastructure is spreading and also that human resources are increasingly becoming available in those areas. But there are still major